Hello fans, this is Brian coming to you for UFC on Fox preview. First off, we have Jason Ledet versus Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman is making his UFC debut. Sherman is coming in right now, he's 9-1, and Ledet is coming in and he's 6-0. First off, I think Ledet has a great wealth of experience and knowledge in the octagon. 4 of his last wins came by submission, but I think Chase Sherman has a lot to prove in the heavyweight division, so he'll be trying to find his first UFC win and not let the doggone UFC shot get to him. So I'm picking Chase Sherman in this fight. Next up, we have Cub Swanson, number 5 in the world, versus Caceres. Caceres is probably one of those fighters that people know and have heard about because Caceres has been around for a while. His record is 35-9-2. Cub Swanson comes in for 22-7-0 record. I look for Cub Swanson to take this fight because I think he'd just be a little too much for Caceres to overcome. Next up, we have Teruto Ishihara versus Horacio Gutierrez. First off, Gutierrez has just changed camps. He's now in Glendale, Arizona with that fight team. This is a 145-pound weight division too, and right now Gutierrez is 3-2, but Ishihara comes in. Great guy. 6 of his last fights have been first-round knockouts. He's 9-2 overall with 2 draws. I look for Ishihara to take this fight. I think that the switch to camps might hurt Gutierrez a little bit. Next up, we have David Tamura versus Jason Novelli. Jason Novelli is a great fighter. He comes in with a lot of experience. He's been fighting for the last 11 years. Although this will be his UFC debut, I look for Tamura to come in. He was season 22 finalist in the Open Fire. That was the one with Conor McGregor on it. He was on Conor McGregor's team. He is a great Muay Thai guy. He comes in for 4-1 record. Tamura comes in with 11-1 record. I look for the experience of Novelli to take down Tamura. Next up, we have Victor Pesta versus Marcin Tybura. Tybura comes in trying to get retribution. Right now he has a 13-2 record, but his last fight was his UFC debut and he lost by decision. He's a little bit upset with the decision. The fight was okay. It wasn't one of those standout fights where you can clearly say that this guy won, that guy won. It could have went either way, so I was okay with the decision. But I tell you what, Pesta comes in. He has a 70% takedown finish. This guy, once he grabs a hold to you and starts trying to take you down, you are going down. There's nothing you can do about it. He comes in with a 12-2 record. Right, I think that Pesta will come in. He will win this fight. First off, he's the first ever Czech fighter to fight in the UFC, so we'll be cheering that Czech flag in with him. I believe that will prepare him through this fight against Tybura. Next up, we have another fight that is pretty exciting for fight fans because everyone knows Court McGee and Dominique Steele both go balls to the wall, heads at you, don't take a step back. We both gonna try to knock each other out. But Court McGee, a lot of people know that he comes in. He's been a little shaky the last few fights of his, but he's one of those guys that I kind of root for because in 2006 he had the drug overdose, almost died. He started doing mixed martial arts, turned his life around. He's been clean and sober ever since 2006. But I tell you what, Dominic Steele is coming into this fight. He has won Performance of the Night, and he's also won Fight of the Night bonuses in his last two fights. I look for Steele to take this fight. I think that he's just going to be a little bit more explosive than Court McGee in this fight, and I look for him to get the victory. Next up, we have starting the main card. First off, they start off with the women in the strawweight division. You have Danielle Taylor making her first fight in the UFC. She has a 7-1 record overall. But like I said, the UFC shock might get to her. And Maria Moroz is coming in 6-1. She is a submission expert. Moroz is. She's a great finisher once she grabs you too, dude. If she grabs a submission on you, you're basically over. But I look for Taylor to use her striking the most. Taylor is a great striker, and I use her to help her propel her through this fight versus Moroz. So I'm taking Taylor in this one. Next up, we have Trevor Smith versus Joe Gilady. Joe Gilady has won 4 of his last 5 fights have came by knockout. He has never went to decision. He is 7-0, undefeated. Although Trevor Smith is coming in with a lot of experience, he's coming in with a 13-6 record. But his last fight was July 2005. He's a great wrestler, but I'll just look for Joe to come in and get the finish in this one. I'm taking Joe in this fight. And another fight, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Zach Cummings. I tell you what, Cummins comes in at a 19-4 record, and Caceres comes in for 23-3 record. Caceres has great power. He's very aggressive, but I think Zach Cummins will prevail through this fight. Zach Cummins is a training partner of Tyrone Woodley. He was brought in by Tyrone Woodley to help him train for the Robbie Lawler fight, and look how great that has worked out. Cummins also just got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I look for him to try to throw some Jiu-Jitsu in there and get his first black belt win by a stoppage, by Jiu-Jitsu, by submission. So I look for Cummins to get the submission in this one. Next up, we have Caceres, who is number 12 in the world. He's coming in on a 3-fight win streak, and I tell you what, he has big, heavy hands, he has a lot of power, and he has world-class Jiu-Jitsu. But Chris Camozzi is coming in. He's no slouch now. He's coming in with a 24-10 record. Right, tell you what, he has never been KO'd, and Caceres loves to KO people. I look for this to go to decision, but I think Caceres will take the victory in this fight. Next up, we have Dennis Bermudez versus Ronnie Jackson. This is a great featherweight fight. Of course, everyone remembers Bermudez was the finalist on the Ultimate Fighter 14. He's coming in and he's won 8 of his last 10 fights. He has a 16-5 record right now. I tell you what, though, Ronnie Jackson comes in, and Ronnie Jackson says he's only shown 60% of his skills in the octagon. So we'll see if he unleashes that other 40% in the co-main event in this featherweight tilt. I'm going with Bermudez in this fight. I think Bermudez has enough skills to stop anything Jackson can do, and I'm taking him in this fight. Next up is the main event. Yair Rodriguez versus Alex Caceres. Caceres, everyone knows him as Bruce Leroy, so if I refer to him as Bruce Leroy, that's what I'm talking about, Caceres. This is going to be a great fight. It's the first time either one of these guys have been known as the headliner fight, and it's their first 5-round fight for either one of these. Of course, remember, all co-main events and main events are 5 rounds in the UFC now with the new rules. Caceres, Bruce Leroy, he was the season 12 Tough Enough. A lot of people remember him because he does a lot of jumping kicks and jumping spins, punches, and he loves to use those doggone roundhouse kicks. He loves roundhouse kicks. He's also a great karate guy, and that's why everyone calls him Bruce Leroy. But I tell you what, Rodriguez is no joke. He's coming in on a 3-fight win streak. His last 3 fights have been won by KO. But they both are very unorthodox fighters. Neither one of these guys does moves in the traditional sense of mixed martial arts. They do all kind of spinning techniques. They do all kind of sweeps. So look for this to be a very exciting fight. But I think Rodriguez will take it. Bruce Leroy is okay. He's just been up and down the last couple years, and so that's why I believe Rodriguez will take this fight. Pick against me, see how y'all do, see how I do, and I will come back with another review after this fight, after this UFC tilt, and y'all let me know how y'all did, and I'll let you know how I did. Good night.